I'd be thrilled. You set a decisive, clear rule, not subject to interpretation. And it don't have to be about contracts. It could be about anything. It could be about anything. So, equal protection of the laws. Oh, no problem with that. We know what that means. What? So, you're going to be exposed to a lot of different views of law at Harvard Law School. And that's a wonderful thing. That is a wonderful thing. And some of you will take this view of law and move it to other courses, and some of you will take one of the courses you already have, or we'll have next semester, and say, well, we should have done contracts. That's fine. That's fine with this. And indeed, there's a way in which I consider this a victory for me, which is the point. Which is, once you see there are multiple understandings of law, that's the point. That is the point. There's a multiple. So, step 1 is contracts associated with law. Step 3, however, you don't have to go there. To me, it's not just about law. It's also about, how can I put it, life. So, my concern about my students at this moment in human history is there's too much anxiety. Anxiety about the future. And anxiety about one's own future. And nervousness. And a belief that in order to deal with the problem, that one should actually accept some job that seems secure, even if you don't want it. I have to pay my loans, let's say. And once I pay off my loans, I'll then do something else, but they don't. I have to keep my options open, they'll say. But they then take a job and stay there forever, and actually what it says on the tombstone, they kept their options open. But there was no visible time. So, I want you to work with me on an assumption. I know it's controversial, but it's an assumption. Let's say you only live once. Take that as an assumption. You should not spend your life doing something you don't want to do. You're going to be working all the time. Maybe, if you're lucky, you can have a family too. I wouldn't want to exaggerate. But you're going to be working all the time, with or without a family. If you don't like it, it's a mistake. So if you see yourself going to some place that you don't want to be in order to do something that you don't want to do, in order ultimately to have another thing which may never happen, you should argue the other side. That's what I think you should do. When you say to yourself, I gotta, I have to, I really don't have any choices, this is really necessary, it was too bad, but I want you to say, okay, let me articulate for myself the other side about what an alternative would be and how it would work and what I do. That's, I think, a way of thinking about your way out of a constraint. I think the problem for a lot of people in this room is not too much openness but too much constraint. Too tight a fit, not too loose a fit. And in order to deal with that, you have to be able to open it up and to argue the other side and try to think about what your alternatives are in a creative way. I like my job. You can tell. I'm not hiding it from you. It's incredibly important to me that I like my job. I don't make a big work-pleasure distinction. I get pleasure from my work. I mean, it's not, I have to work in order to then go to the club. Although I do go to the club. So there's something very fundamental to me about how how one talks oneself into limits and makes those limits necessary, and has an instrumental view of one's own life, which actually is not what one wants to do. So this is not to say when you argue the other side, you will do the other side. It's not to say that. Maybe you won't. But you should try to figure out what the alternatives are and how you could spend your life doing something you will get pleasure out of. And and if you don't do that, you'll be making a mistake in life. That's point 3. Point 4. It's not just about you. It's not just about you. If you don't think there are problems in the world, you're missing something. I mean, every day you wake up and there's some place in the world, and namely 100 places in the world, where there's just nothing but problems. And I include the United States, and I include the Boston metropolitan area, and I include Cambridge. You walking down the street in Cambridge, it won't take you long to find problems. As many of you know, I just came back from India. They got problems. And so you're going to Harvard Law School. It's an incredible opportunity to do something about something important. What it is up to you. But if you don't actually devote yourself to something that you'll be happy that you actually did it, and not just for yourself, then you'll be missing an incredible opportunity, and the Harvard Law School will be missing an opportunity because it actually is an incredible ability. It gives you an incredible ability to do stuff that you should be able to do. And you should identify something you care about, some problem in the world. You don't have to do it full time. This is not a question. This is not a question of, oh, I can't work for this kind of law firm or this kind of company because it's not about that. You have time to do something that you will be proud of doing. And it's actually, it seems to me very important. This is not a sacrifice of your personal interest in the name of the good of the whole. Many people who do work that they care about for people and that helps contribute to solving a problem get an enormous amount of personal pleasure out of doing it. And indeed, for most people, it's their most important pleasure that they are wrapped up in a cause they care about and want to do something about it. So all these things are connected. You have to think about that you're on some road, that you're in a system, you're in a world, and what your role is. So I start with contract rules, right? And law and life and the world, right? I mean, we're trying to think about things in some way in which there's no determined answer. So that's my rap. It's what I think. I wish you well. I actually had a wonderful time teaching you. I did. You could tell. It's kind of a weird job I have. That I see you all in the places you're supposed to be, and then in 5 minutes it won't go away. But less than 5 minutes. 1 minute. So I'm now getting sad and nostalgic. So I've taught contracts many times, but what I get out of it is the class discussion. I mean, that's what I get out of it. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work, and I thought it was great. I really had a good time, and I thank you for that. Good luck. If you want to see me again, local government law.